I'm Anil Kumar, and in this video we are going to explore some multiplication facts. Let us try and multiply a few numbers. So what is 2 times 3 equals to? 2 times 3 is 6. How about 3 times 4? 3 times 4 is 12. And how about 5 times 4? 20. Now what do you observe from here? You see, when you multiply two numbers, you get a product, and that product is always greater than the numbers themselves, right? These numbers are called factors. So these numbers here are called factors. Let me write down. Of the number you get, which is called product. So 20 is product, and 5 and 4 are factors of 20. So when you multiply the factors together, you get a product. So that is a technical term which we can use. Another thing which we see here is few other facts about multiplication. That is, if I reverse the order, that is to say, if I do 3 times 2, let me write down 3 times 2, what do you get? You get the number 6 again. If I do 4 times 3, it is 12, and 4 times 5 is 20. So you get the same product. So these factors can be multiplied in any order. So for the factors, order is not important. You get the same product. We call this property as commutative property of multiplication, right? So that is the commutative property of multiplication. Now, did I say that when you multiply two numbers, you always get a greater number? I did. But let's look into this example. That is, if I multiply 3 times 1, what do I get? Well, I get just 3. 3 is not greater than 3. How about 5 times 1? Well, that is also not a number greater than 5. Oh, but what is important here, that we get the same number, right? So times 1 give you the same number. And what you also see is, when you multiply two numbers, then necessarily you may not get higher number. You may get a number equivalent to the highest number of the two factors, or a higher number, right? So it's greater than equal to, right? Not always greater than, correct? So 1 multiplying by 1 is giving you the same number. So that is an identity, right? So it is called multiplicative identity. So whenever you multiply by 1, you get the same number. Okay, how about multiplying by 0? If I do 7 times 0, what do I get? If I do 9 times 0, what do you get? Even 0 times 0 is just 0, right? So when you multiply by 0, you always get 0, right? So these are interesting facts about multiplication. So whenever you multiply by 0, you always get a 0. Whenever you multiply by 1, you get the same number, which is being multiplied by 1. Whenever you multiply by any two whole numbers, then you get a higher number. But if you multiply by 1, you get the same number, right? So these are a few multiplication facts. Now we are not considering multiplying by fractions. For example, if I do half of 4, that is also multiplication, and in that case I get 2. So sometimes when you multiply by fractions, you may get a lower number. Remember that. So when you multiply whole numbers, then you get 0 multiplying by 0. Multiplying by 1, you get the same number. Multiplying two numbers which are greater than 1, you always get a greater number. But if you multiply two numbers out of which one is less than 1, then you may get a smaller number, right? So that is what you learn from here. Also, order is not important in multiplication. 3 times 4 is same as 4 times 3, right? So that is how we see multiplication. Now from multiplication we will also learn division. Division is kind of multiplication. Now whenever we talk about multiplication facts, let me give you 4 statements for the same thing. For example, 2 times 3 equals to 6, and we have learned 3 times 2 is also 6, right? Now these are 2 facts which we can write about the numbers 2, 3 and 6. But we can also say 6 divided by 2 is 3 and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that is division and multiplication relationship. And these are 4 different facts in which the numbers 2, 3 and 6 get connected. So that is the connection between them. So at times we may also discuss about the 4 facts about the 3 numbers. I hope with this you have fairly good idea of what multiplication is. Multiplying two numbers gives us a product, and these two numbers are called factors. Product is same even if the factors order is changed. If one of the factor is 1, then the product is the second number. And if one of the factor is 0, then the product is 0. When you multiply by a number smaller than 1, then you get a smaller product. And multiplication is related to division, giving 4 facts about multiplication statement. So this is called, these two multiplication statements, these two division statements. What they are talking about, the same 3 numbers and their link. I hope with this we can move forward and learn a lot more about multiplication. Thank you.